Hi everyone, welcome to Devlog number 25. In this episode we will see some changes in the character design and some experimentation with UI design for the inventory and equipment screen. So let's get started. One of the items I had to finish was the wolf head that Lupo wears on his head. This week I continued working on the wolf head and turned it into a hat, removing the lower jaw and adjusting both the proportions and the hair, breaking the symmetry and making the head more organic. I also started the retopology process, but I haven't finished it yet. I create all my 3D models in Blender. For the retopology, especially of organic shapes, I use a manual process of creating the geometry with 3 modifiers. The symmetry modifier, so I only make half of the model, the subdivision that adds more resolution and smooths the shapes, and finally the shrink wrap that adjusts the geometry of the low poly to the shape of the high poly. That process is very repetitive and you have to be very careful with the edge loops in the areas where the geometry can be deformed, like the eyes, mouth, elbows, knees, etc. There is a tutorial by Danny Mac that explains the process very well. I'll leave you the link to his Gumroad page if you are interested. On the other hand, I decided to try a design that I had in my head for the equipment screen. In some modern games, the concept of equipment slot, as we know it in classic RPGs, has been redesigned with a real-time preview. Inspired by this concept, I wanted to make my own version. Here you can see the static design I made in Illustrator. The challenge was to use everything as part of the canvas UI. In Unreal, you can create widgets and show them as part of the 3D. I wanted part of my UI to be fixed, so it would be easy to read, but the part that indicates the slot location would move with the character, so the solution of attaching the widgets to the character didn't work for me. The most complicated part was to translate the position of the world to the position in the screen. Although there are a couple of nodes that just do that, I quickly realized that it wasn't going to be enough. One of the advantages of the Unreal UI system is that it scales depending on the size of the screen. The DPI scale changes both the size and the actual position of the pixels on the screen, so the position that came from the node wasn't correct, since it's based on a DPI scale of 1:1. After much research on the internet, I discovered the solution was very simple. The position that comes from the node must be divided by the scale of the screen. By doing this, we have the exact position of the pixel on the screen, no matter the scale of the DPI. Thanks to that, part of the UI moves with the character and the information part is static. This is not the final design, as I would like to be able to show the maximum of information with the minimum possible interaction from the player. Obviously looking for the best balance so the information is not overwhelming. But that will be content for another devlog. And that was all the progress for this week. Not much as you can see, but the important thing is to keep moving forward even if it's little by little. If you like this content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe and leave comments if you have any questions or suggestions. Thank you very much for watching and see you next Monday.